The fog rolled in from the Thames as if the river itself were exhaling centuries of secrets, thick, silver, almost alive. It wrapped London in damp veils that blurred the edges between past and present, between what had been spoken and what had remained forever unsaid. The narrow streets, usually rigid with their red brick and tall sash windows, now seemed to dream while awake, cloaked in a stillness only a London night can weave. The gas lamps, scattered like weary sentinels, cast trembling halos over the cobblestones, turning every shadow into poetry and every footstep into an echo. It was in this suspended world, caught between reality and memory, that Eleanor Whitcombe paused before the wrought iron gates of her uncle's townhouse. Her gloved fingers, sheathed in pearl-colored satin, rested against the cold metal as though seeking not just support, but a sign, any sign that she was making the right choice. A soft but insistent breeze lifted the edges of her fine wool shawl, carrying with it the scent of coal smoke, wilting flowers, and the distant tang of the sea, though the ocean lay miles away. She hadn't wanted to be here. 5 years had passed since she'd fled London in haste, her heart quietly shattered and her eyes too dry to weep. Back then, the city had felt like a labyrinth of suffocating expectations, where every smile concealed judgment and every invitation masked a social trap. She'd gone to Somerset seeking clean air, space to breathe, and perhaps a way to forget the grief for her mother, whose death had struck like a sudden storm, offering no farewell. To forget the disappointment of a broken engagement, dissolved not by love but cold calculations of fortune and status. And above all, to forget him, Captain Nathaniel Hawthorne. Even now, his name sent the faintest tremor through her hands, despite 5 winters come and gone. He had left for war without so much as a goodbye, or so she'd believed for a long time. Only later did she learn, through intercepted letters and cruel misunderstandings, that he had tried to write, that he'd sent 3 letters, all returned address unknown, thanks to her family's abrupt move after her mother's death. But in that moment, all that remained was silence. And silence, when it comes from someone you love, is the cruelest chasm of all. Now, however, she was back, not by desire, but by duty. Her uncle, Sir Reginald Pembroke, widowed and increasingly solitary, had insisted she attend the evening reception honoring officers recently returned from the Napoleonic campaigns. "It's time to heal old wounds, my dear," he'd said, his gaze sharp enough to unsettle her, "and perhaps even plant new seeds." Eleanor sighed, squared her shoulders, and pushed the gate open with quiet resolve. The metallic groan sounded like a warning or a summons. Inside the house, warmth hit her immediately, almost oppressively so. The scent of beeswax, polished wood, and bergamot tea hung in the air, mingled with the delicate trace of French perfume worn with restraint by the ladies. The house seemed alive, pulsing with muffled voices, restrained laughter, and the delicate clink of crystal glasses. Everything here spoke of elegance, control, and carefully maintained masks. Her gown, pale blue silk, nearly the color of the sky just before dawn, was deliberately simple. No excessive embroidery, no extravagant bows. Her aunt, Lady Beatrice, had wrinkled her nose at the sight. "You look like a village schoolmistress, not a lady of society." But Eleanor knew that tonight simplicity was her armor. The less attention she drew, the better. And then, as she stepped into the drawing room, she saw him. Nathaniel Hawthorne stood by the fireplace, partially turned away, watching the flames dance. Even so, she would have recognized him in any crowd, in any age. The way he held his shoulders, not stiff but alert, as if still on campaign. The slight tilt of his head when listening, as though every word deserved careful weighing. Time had marked him, yes. Fine lines now framed his eyes, witnesses to sleepless nights and impossible choices. His hair, once unruly and softly wavy, was cropped short as military discipline demanded. But his eyes were unchanged, deep, intense, capable of piercing through any defense with a single glance. Just then, someone, Lady Charlotte, ever indiscreet, called out her name with theatrical surprise. "Miss Whitcombe, what a joy to see you again!" Nathaniel turned, and for a heartbeat, the world stopped. The drawing room, with its glittering chandeliers, velvet settees, and stern ancestral portraits, vanished. Only they remained, separated by meters of Persian carpet and 5 years of silence. "Miss Whitcombe," he said, inclining his head with a courtesy that couldn't quite mask the emotion in his voice. "Captain Hawthorne," she replied, her tone steady, a performance, nothing more. Inside, her heart galloped like a startled horse. They spoke, as etiquette demanded, of harmless things. The weather, so damp for this time of year. The end of the war, a relief for us all, I imagine. Life in the countryside. Peaceful, sir, very different from London. But beneath every polite phrase, beneath every carefully measured pause, lay oceans left uncharted, words swallowed by fear, gestures never made, promises that died before they were born. Later, when the string quartet began a gentle waltz by Mozart, the guests drifted into the adjoining salon, where tall windows stood slightly ajar, letting in the cool night air. Eleanor, almost without realizing it, found herself walking beside Nathaniel, as if her feet remembered a path her mind had tried to forget. "I heard you refused a marriage proposal," he said quietly, as though afraid of breaking something fragile. She offered a smile without mirth. "I also heard you nearly didn't return from the Iberian Peninsula, that there was an ambush and you were listed missing for weeks." He nodded, his gaze dropping for a moment. It was worse than they let on, not just the wound, but the feeling that even if I survived, there might be no one waiting. Eleanor's throat tightened. "I would have waited," she whispered before she could stop herself. The silence that followed was dense, almost sacred, heavy with everything they'd lost and everything that might still be reclaimed. "Now, however, at the time, I thought it kinder to leave you in peace," Nathaniel said, lifting his eyes to hers. "I had no fortune, no title, no solid promises, only a worn uniform and a heart torn between duty and desire. I feared that if I returned, I'd bring only more pain." Eleanor looked at him, not as the naive girl he'd known, but as the woman she'd become, stronger, wiser, more aware of time's true value. "I didn't need riches, Nathaniel, nor titles. I only needed to know the truth. I only needed to hear that you loved me, even if you couldn't stay." He swallowed hard. "I did. I do. I always have." The words hung in the air like incense smoke, invisible yet present in every fiber of the room. Just then, the music swelled, wrapping around them like a golden veil. Somewhere in the salon, someone laughed with genuine joy. Life went on, indifferent to human sorrow, yet generous enough to offer second chances. Then Nathaniel extended his hand, not with arrogance nor urgency, only with a quietude that spoke louder than 1,000 vows. "May I have this dance?" Eleanor hesitated, not from doubt, but from reverence. Then she placed her hand in his. There were no cheers, no grand declarations, only two bodies moving to the rhythm of the waltz beneath the shimmering chandeliers. Yet in that simple gesture, something ancient was sealed anew, something that had never truly died, only slept, waiting for the right moment to awaken. Because sometimes love does not arrive as a thunderclap that splits the sky in two. Sometimes it returns, steadier, wiser, truer, precisely when both hearts, finally healed of their wounds, are ready to meet and remain.